Today on Radio Boat Anchor, I'm going to repair this vintage 1976 Pacific Northwest Instruments Bounty Hunter 1 metal detector. History. In May 1970, Pacific Northwest Instruments was founded with the goal of providing the treasure hunter with the finest quality metal detecting equipment at a reasonable price. The Bounty Hunter 1, featured in this repair video, is found on page 8 of the 1976 Bounty Hunter catalog. With the invention of the Red Baron in 1976, Pacific Northwest Instruments became the technical leader in the metal detecting industry, with ongoing research to keep it on top with new metal detector developments each year. Pacific Northwest Instruments also announced in their 1976 Bounty Hunter catalog that they were moving their facilities from Northwest Oregon to Southwest Texas. I wonder if it was a typo that it says Phoenix, Arizona in this memo, as their headquarters were based in Phoenix, Oregon. In 1978, the company changed its corporate name from Pacific Northwest Instruments to Bounty Hunter Incorporated. The Bounty Hunter brand is currently owned by First Texas Products. Testing. Batteries must be installed into Bounty Hunter 1 in order to test. The blue battery compartment door is located at the top of the control box. It must be removed in order to access the battery holder. I am thankful that the previous owner removed the batteries from this metal detector during long-term storage. 8 AA batteries installed in the battery holder are required to power this metal detector. The battery holder is attached to this metal detector using a 9-volt battery clip. In order to test the Bounty Hunter 1, I turned the volume control power switch fully clockwise and the discriminator dial to metal. Then I performed a quarter test, moving a quarter under the search coil. First of all, the Bounty Hunter 1 should have a steady tone from the speaker that fluctuates with the quarter directly under the search coil. There is no sound or tone coming from this metal detector. My Bounty Hunter 1 is in clear need of repair. Repair. Some disassembly is required before repair. Step 1 was to remove the battery pack. It connects to the metal detector using a 9-volt battery clip. The search coil cable must be disconnected from the control box. Once the search coil cable is disconnected from the control box, it can be removed from the adjustable stem using the thumb screw. At this point, the search coil should be detached from the metal detector. Once the compression nut is loosened on the adjustable stem, it can be broken down into 2 pieces. Unfortunately, the top of the stem is bolted to the control box and cannot be easily removed. Screws must be removed from the bottom of the control box, on the side of the search coil connector, and on the other side above the battery compartment door. With the screws removed, the top and bottom of the control box can be separated to expose the electronics. I decided to remove the search coil connector from the control box bottom, which allowed me to completely separate the top and bottom. The cable must first be desoldered from the search coil connector before it can be removed using an open-ended wrench. The cable can then be resoldered to the connector for testing once it is free and clear of the control box bottom. I decided to completely remove the electronics from the control box in order to make troubleshooting easier. 3 screws hold the speaker in place and must be removed. The knobs needed to be removed in order to remove the volume control power switch potentiometer and discriminator variable air capacitor from the control box. I did have an issue removing the volume control power switch knob. The set screw was seized, so I tried some penetrating oil. The penetrating oil did not work and I stripped out the set screw's slot. I had to drill out the set screw in order to remove the knob. I used box wrenches to remove the volume control power switch potentiometer, audio jack, and discriminator variable air capacitor from the control box. Time to remove the printed circuit board. 4 screws hold the printed circuit board in place. Here is the Bounty Hunter 1 electronics removed from the control box. Troubleshooting this metal detector's electronics was not pretty. I found that the speaker, volume control power switch potentiometer, and audio jack were defective. At this stage, I still haven't gotten to the root cause. Once desoldered from the printed circuit board wiring, the volume control power switch potentiometer was relatively easy to service. 5 tabs must be bent back to expose the potentiometer's innards. I used 800 grit sandpaper to clean up the contacts, then reassembled it and bent back the 5 tabs to hold everything in place. I performed continuity and resistance checks before soldering the volume control power switch potentiometer back into the printed circuit board wiring. A previous owner spliced a replacement 9-volt battery clip in place. The battery clip connects to the 12-volt battery holder. I soldered a new 9-volt battery clip directly to the printed circuit board. The only electrolytic capacitor on the printed circuit board was replaced. It is a good idea to replace the electrolytic capacitor while you have the control box apart. After 49 years, electrolytic capacitors lose their capacity as their electrolyte dries up. It is important to replace the electrolytic capacitor with the same capacity and the same or higher working voltage. It is also important to observe its polarity when installing. Here is the new electrolytic capacitor soldered in place on the printed circuit board. At this point, the LM307N op-amp is most likely the cause of this metal detector not working. I didn't have a LM307N op-amp in stock, so I substituted it for the more common LM741 op-amp instead. I installed a socket under the LM741 op-amp so that it could be easily swapped out when the new LM307N op-amp arrives from China. Success! The Bounty Hunter 1 electronics was once again operational. During testing, I used an alligator clip test lead to jumper around the defective audio jack. I replaced the defective audio jack with a brand new shiny one I purchased from Amazon. Finally, the defective speaker was replaced with a new one purchased from eBay. Reassembly. First, I cleaned the top of the control box with my go-to cleaner, Windex. Then I applied Armor All to it in order to restore the paint's luster. The same cleaning treatment was used on the bottom of the control box and adjustable stem. Armor All was then applied to these parts in order to bring back their luster as well. Hardware knobs and the battery compartment cover were cleaned with Windex. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser worked wonders on removing dirt and marks on the plastic search coil's case. Time for reassembly. I installed the printed circuit board into the control box. 4 screws hold the printed circuit board in place. I used box wrenches to install the volume control power switch potentiometer, new audio jack, and discriminator variable air capacitor to the control box. Label 107 oil was applied to the shaft of the volume control power switch potentiometer and the shaft of the discriminator variable air capacitor before the knobs were installed. I had to find a suitable replacement volume control power switch knob, as I had to destroy the original knob to remove it. A set screw held it in place. The discriminator knob was then installed. The speaker was then installed. 3 screws hold it in place. The cable was desoldered from the search coil connector and it was reinstalled onto the bottom of the control box. The cable was then resoldered to the search coil connector. The top and bottom of the control box were once again joined together and 2 screws were reinstalled in the bottom, on the side with the search coil connector, and on the other side above the battery compartment door. The 2 parts of the adjustable stem were once again joined together. Next, the search coil was reinstalled to the adjustable stem using the thumb screw. The search coil cable was then wound around the adjustable stem and reconnected to the control box. Finally, the battery pack was reconnected to the 9-volt battery clip and installed into the control box. Then the blue battery compartment door was installed. My Bounty Hunter 1 was ready for action. Conclusion. The Northeast Ohio winter weather prevents me from testing outside. So I decided to test the Bounty Hunter 1 in my basement using the quarter test. As you can see, my Pacific Northwest Instrument Bounty Hunter 1 metal detector has been repaired and is ready for action when the weather turns warm. Please like this post and subscribe to Radio Boat Anchor so that you're alerted my future posts. Thank you.